Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Gabby and I'm back with another video. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you like and subscribe and click that notification bell so that you do not miss any more videos that I post. And if you're returning, welcome back. I missed you guys, and I hope you missed me as well. We're gonna get straight into the video, but I just want to say that I apologize to my subscribers that are really wanting to see me post a lot of content pertaining to the Navy, and I just haven't been getting that out to you because it's just so much information that goes into these videos. And with everything going on, our schedules are kind of hectic at the moment, and so it's hard to be like really finish through that editing process and get these videos posted out to you because I get easily frazzled. So I'm really trying my hardest now to just record, edit right away, and get these videos out to you. So to the people who are very frustrated with me because I did see some comments that were dragging me by my edges, I apologize, and I'm going to try and get that out to you guys because I know you guys are equally as frustrated because you're trying to still get into the Navy. So I understand that it is very important that I get the information that you guys need. So like I said, I apologize, and I'm going to try my best. Okay, and with that being said, let's just get into the video. All right, so let's get serious about advancement, okay? That's the number one thing you hear when you talk about the Navy is advancement. What is it? Advancement is the advancement exam. First off, the advancement exam is the main way that you get promoted in the Navy, from the rank of E3 all the way up until chief. So let's just break this down. Let's just get into it. It's a 150 question test that tests you on a myriad of things that covers every facet of your career field. And in this case, it's corpsman. It's very broad, the corpsman field. And so for people like me who are dental techs and we only work in dental mainly, it really forces us to have to work a little bit harder to study everything because it's covering things that are pharmacy, lab, prev med, being on a ship, FMF, like everything, tactical things, all those things. It's just really, it covers everything. So it really requires you to really put in that time to study. And they give you 6 months to study for each test. You have a test in March and in September. And you usually get the results around, if you take it in September, you get them around right before Thanksgiving. And then when you take it in March, you get them right before Memorial Day. So let's just talk about how we study for this stuff, okay? The corpsman manual alone is 1,000 pages, over 1,000 pages. So that just alone tells you how much goes into being a corpsman, okay? And everything that you do have to study and highlight and things like that. They do give you, right after every exam, they call it the bibliographies, and that basically breaks down into what instructions they're going to be pulling questions from and what chapters from the corpsman manual and things like that they will be pulling questions from. And that helps a little bit, but there's so many pages in these instructions, and like I said, the corpsman manual is so extensive that you really don't know what is more important, what's least important, because sometimes these exams do surprise you and you think it's gonna have everything that you study, and then it's always everything that you didn't really too much harp on when you were studying. So just try to utilize your resources. You have the corpsman manual, you can print out the bibs, you can print out the instructions, highlight, rewrite them, flashcards, whatever you use to help you memorize things. There's also Navy BMR, which is a resource online. They also have an app, and they basically give you study questions, mock tests, and things like that to help you study. And there usually is a fee for that service, but I believe now because the corpsmen, we're just really experiencing low quotas lately, they have been giving us that service for free. And then Blue Jacketeer is another great resource that I personally like to use, and they also give you questions and everything straight from the instructions and the chapters and things that you'll have to study. The thing I like about this program is that when you answer the question, you can afterwards click if it's an easy question to you, if it was a normal question to you, if it was hard. And if it was hard, it'll bring that question up a lot more so you can keep seeing it and get that memory down. And then if it's easy, it won't bring it up as often, so that way you won't just be getting these easy questions over and over again. So those are your different resources really, and obviously people make study guides. There's also what you call EAP. At this point in time, not in my mind right now to remember what those letters stand for, but usually most commands offer this as like a kind of a group study type of thing to help you guys prepare for the exam. Okay, so the test itself is composed of 150 questions, like I said, all pertaining to your job. In the past, the last 25 questions were for Navy history and heritage questions, but they have since then just replaced them with job-related questions. And instead, for the Navy heritage stuff, they've moved that onto like a course on NKO, which stands for Navy Knowledge Online, which is kind of like our education kind of training tool that we use for our annual trainings and things like that. And they've turned that into a thing where you have 5 different sections or so, and you have to go through these slides or whatever, and then they quiz you at the end. And as long as you make, I think, at least a 70 or an 80 in each section, you get a certificate for that, and that is good for until you rank up to the next rank. So if you're an E3, you take that course once, you pass all of them, and then you don't have to take it again until you have made the E4 ranking. So even though you take the test however many times, you don't have to retake that portion of the pre-eligibility for the test until you make E4, if that makes sense. So let's just get into how the points break down. So a perfect score for the exam would be an 80. Obviously, I mean, there are people who do get an 80, but it's not quite just cut and dry like that. When you get your evals, which is basically a summary of what you've done job-wise, career-wise from July, that previous July to the current, the July before, it basically covers a year span of your work. And volunteer, school, things you've done, anything you've done in that portion of time, they will rank you against other people in your command or your clinic that are of that same ranking, and it'll put you in order, and they'll see who gets an early promote, a must promote, or a promotable, or anything else. EP, the early promote, is the highest. I believe that's worth 64 points. And then I'm not too sure about the other ones, but obviously 64 is the highest you can get from the eval part. So if you cut a perfect 80 now and you have an EP, now it's whatever 80 plus 64 is, because I'm not a math major, you have that going for you. If you have any education points, meaning you have finished an associate's or a bachelor's degree, those also count as points. If you have any awards from any deployments or previous commands that you have left, those count. Your time and rate, how long you've been in as a corpsman or whatever, things like that, you get points for that. So all those things kind of go into what they call a final multiple score, which would be basically the total of all those points put together. You're just not gonna have that perfect score. So, and also the test, some of those questions they throw away after you take them. So usually, like I said, you get the results from the exam about 2 months afterwards. And that allows for them to give the late exams out to people who may have missed the original exam and things like that. And it also gives them a chance to take out those throwaway questions that just didn't make sense or whatever. So that also lowers that 80 down to whatever that number is. So then whoever reached that highest part, that's what sets the curve for who sets it as the highest tone, if that makes sense. And then based on how many quotas there are or positions that there are for that rank, then that's how you know how many people, like which people be included based off of your final multiple score versus the average and all that, things like that. So it's a lot to kind of take into. Sometimes you will run into an issue where you may be a brand new corpsman, you don't have any, education, you don't have any awards or anything like that. You basically just have, you may have just a promotable, just a normal average eval, nothing really going for you there. And you may get a perfect score in the exam and you will feel like, wow, I should have picked up. And the sad reality is you may not, because you could have someone who's been in a few 4 or 5 years or so, and they've taken the test. Oh, you also get points from the amount of tests you take too. Like you get 1.5 or so per test. And you may have somebody who's taken it a lot of times, been in for a long time, they've gotten their degree while they've been in, and they may not score as high on their exam, but they may have a good eval and they may have all those other points backing them up, which would kind of push you out of that that field of even getting promoted just off of the numbers alone. And that is, to me, kind of one of the most like disadvantageous things about this exam, because you have someone who knows their job perfectly. I don't know, it just has a lot of it just has a lot of things that just don't make sense about this process, but we won't get into that because my employer would not want me to speak poorly of this exam. The last thing I would like to get into, and I'm trying to get this all condensed into a shortish kind of video. I check my email every day, so please reach out to me if you have questions about anything that I've said in this video, because it can get confusing, and with me trying to make this in a very timely thing, I just don't want to, you know, rank. I thought it was 5 o'clock, it's only 1 o'clock, I'm sorry. And then let's get into MAP, okay? MAP is a program where you get meritoriously advanced, and that's when it really just gets down to what you do as a sailor, your education, your volunteer points, your awards that you've gotten, any type of courses you've done, school, things like that. They really go off of the black and white what you have done, and this is when your command gets to put you in the spotlight. And so that's why I tell people, you know, with the advancement exam, our quotas are very low for corpsmen. You know, we usually have, I mean, the last few exams we've had a 1%, for at least for the E3 to E4, 1%, 2%, you know, things like that. So it's very difficult to advance as a corpsman right now, especially, but it's also very important to make sure you are a rounded sailor and making sure you're still doing everything you can do, because MAP still exists. And that's when you get to give your command the opportunity to brag on everything that you have done, because all the different directorates, dental, medical, and whatever other directorates that exist, they're gonna put up their best, who they feel like are their best people. And you know, also with PRT scores, things like that, you wanna make sure you're always performing your best, because when they put you up against these other people in other departments, obviously y'all were all the best of the best of who they had. So it's gonna be extremely competitive, so it's always good to be on top of your game. Joining organizations and things like that, because it sometimes will come down to who had the highest PRT score, or, oh, well, this person was an officer of this organization and this person wasn't, so he gets it. You know, it comes down to things like that. You may not be able to make it from the exam, but you can, you almost have a better chance of getting mapped, because they have taken some quotas from the exam and they've given more map quotas so that more people can be meritoriously promoted, because you do run into people who may not be the greatest leaders, but they are very good test takers and they always end up making rank every time. And then you may have somebody who isn't the best test taker, but they do know their job, they do a great job at it, and they do a lot of things, and they just got slighted when it came to the exam quotas and things like that. So that's really advancement in a nutshell, as small of a nutshell as I could get it. A lot of people ask me if I regret joining as a corpsman because of their slow advancement rate, because I have been in, this coming November will be 5 years I've been in, and I've been in E3 since I joined, because of my prior ROTC college and all that. I almost went IT, which would have been a pretty much faster promotion rate for me, but I do love my job. I do love dental, and it is a very rewarding job, and we get to go greenside, work with Marines and things like that, and we are afforded a lot of opportunities that other rates may not have. So I don't regret going corpsman. Sometimes it is a little, I guess, discouraging when you see how our quotas compare against other rates and how slow we advance. But if you have a good command and, you know, on paper, you know, some people may end up in commands that show favoritism or things like that, and they feel like they're not being acknowledged. On black and white, it shows you've done this, that, and the third. They can't contest it, you know. They have to give you your accolades and give you that rank that you deserve, because I mean, on paper, you've proven to them. I've been, you know, working hard and doing everything that I can do. So no, I don't regret I do wish that it was easier for us to promote, especially I believe that we are the best rate in the Navy. I mean, we are the ones that give everyone their medical and dental work and make sure everybody is good and deployable. So I feel like we should have a better advancement rate. But also with that, we have the most people in a rate, so it makes sense that obviously it may be one of the slower ones to pick up because we have so many people. So I hope that I was able to explain how advancement really works for us, and how the exam works and everything like that. If you have any questions, I will be leaving my email in the box below. Also, my social media pages will be listed there too. If you don't like to email, I usually am on social media pretty often as well. I've become good friends with some of my subscribers because they did seek me out and ask me questions, and then we just ended up kind of just talking a lot about the Navy and things like that. So please reach out, because I really do enjoy helping you guys, making sure that you guys feel very solid in your decision to join the Navy, because it is really a great branch. I hope you guys got something out of that video. I will be making a video soon. I really may make another video right after this one, just so I have 2 in the chamber that I can get out to y'all back to back. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.